Hello everyone, my name is Jeremy Hawker and today's topic is multi-tonic harmony. In this video I'm just going to give a very basic outline of what this is. Going to keep the concept very simple, so this can be a good primer for further videos on this topic. Okay, so in order to understand multi-tonic harmony, we can look at single tonic harmony, i.e. tonal harmony. The way I like to look at all my theory is through divisions of an octave. That can give us a nice visual way of understanding note distributions and how they interact with the music. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the tonal harmony division. So this is the major scale here. And as we can see, this upper tetrachord, consisting of 3 tones, pulls back very nicely to our tonic here. And that creates a tonal hierarchy. Okay, so another way I like to think about it is this uneven distribution, it provides a sort of weight that pushes onto one note. It provides a certain gravity through being non-symmetrical. That's the way I like to think about it, because when we do divide an octave symmetrically, what we get is a lack of tonality. As we all will probably be familiar with the whole tone scale, it's very tonally ambiguous. There isn't really any one central tonic, same with our diminished and augmented, etc. Okay, so that's the way I like to think about multi-tonic harmony, is that the symmetry behind it essentially rules out any tonal gravity towards one note or root note or root chord. Another way of visualizing it is heterarchy versus hierarchy. So in our tonal system, we've got a tonic note at the top, and everything else revolves around that. Whereas in the heterarchical system, i.e. the multi-tonic system, every chord, every note, if we can imagine this is a chord progression, these boxes here, every one of them is equal. So they're not all contributing towards one or coloring one tonic chord. They're all chords within their own right. And I think that's probably part of the reason why multi-tonic harmony can sound a little bit weird initially for people, because we're so used to that tonal hierarchy, we're so used to tonality. Okay, so let's look at a definition of multi-tonic harmony. The actual term multi-tonic harmony came from an article by Masaya Yamaguchi in 2003 in the Annual Review of Jazz Studies, and he writes, this is on multi-tonic harmony: note groupings within their original key structures that project harmonic root motions of note groups of limited transposition. Okay, so that's pretty wordy. He goes on to say, the chord changes of giant steps can be regarded as a typical example of multi-tonic changes because of the use of augmented triads. Okay, so in this article he was talking specifically about giant steps, which is a multi-tonic work. It was, well, is one of the most influential multi-tonic works, period. It's the only game in town. Well, it isn't, but it was the first big one, really, when we think about multi-tonic harmony. Okay, so let's break down what this definition is saying. So first of all, if we look, we'll take an augmented cycle. So as we can see here, we've got an octave that's divided into 3 parts. Okay, so this would be considered a note grouping, these three notes would be considered a note grouping of limited transposition. As we know, the augmented cycle can only be, we only have, what is it, 4 families of augmented chords. We've only got 3 families of diminished chords, etc. So that's what he means by a limited transposition. Okay, so this is a note group of limited transposition. Okay, so when he was talking about key structures, he's talking about the chords, the harmony that we place on each one of these note groups. And he's saying that it needs to remain the same throughout. That needs to be the original key structure. As I have done here, I'm using major 7 chords. You could use any chord that you like. I'm just using major 7 chords because Coltrane did. Okay, so when we project these notes, these note groups of limited transposition that maintain their original key structures, what we see is in all of the voices we get an augmented triad, or whatever note grouping you're using. So if this was a diminished note grouping, you'd get a diminished triad spelt out between the inner voices of the chords, no matter what chord you're using. If you're using minor, dominant 7th, so long as the key structure remains the same throughout, it will produce a triad of that note grouping within the voices of the chords. Okay, as we can see here, there's an augmented triad. Here's an augmented triad in the middle. There's another one there, and then there's another one there. Okay, so there it is again. Note groups within their original key structures. So that is whatever harmony we decide to assign it, that project harmonic root motions of note groups of limited transposition. Okay, so again, we can look at it on this little circle of fifths clock here. I could put any chord I wanted to on any one of these points, any key structure, so long as I kept it within its original key structure, it would produce, in this case, an augmented triad. It would produce harmonic root motions of note groups of limited transposition. So it would produce an augmented triad within each of the voices, and thus it would fit Masaya Yamaguchi's definition of multi-tonic harmony. Okay, so that wraps up this lesson. It's a very simple concept to understand, and this video will serve as the foundation for other videos that I will make on this topic. Okay, so I hope you got something out of this. If you did, drop me a line, write a comment. I'm always keen to talk about this stuff. It's my research topic. I love it. So drop us a line. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.